I should never have shown you that, should I?
Not minutes before pressing record, no.
Figure 4 Radio. Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Hello everyone and welcome to Figure 4 Radio. My name is the Mastermind Ollie Spring. As always, I'm joined by the Killer Kai Brand.
Good, hello.
And Luke O Mac.
Hello, everybody.
Now, last week as we went off air, we were sitting at Killer Towers, Killer's Castle,
Killer Crown?
Fort,
Castle? I like
Fort
Castle.
Killer,
Fort Killer sounds a bit crap.
Fort Killer. Well, that just sounds like someone that's really good at like destroying forts.
Or building dens out of pillows.
Yeah. Either way, we were at
must have
Kai's
done that
house,
as a kid.
and post recording, we watched CZW Cage of Death.
We did. Number 50?
Well, 2015.
2015, yeah.
And we watched the main event, which was
I don't even remember who was in it.
blokes
Crazy.
4 guys.
In a garage, smashing each other around the heads.
yeah. And
It had a
gave
cage
us-
that wasn't quite a cage.
Yeah, there was
Two
a
of the
half a
sides were
cage there,
lopsided.
and there was one side had a scaffold, and the ending was when someone came off the top of the scaffold with a power slam through glass at two
Table.
tables, 2 chairs, and a table. Yeah,
Was someone underneath it, or did he roll out the way?
No, he rolled out of the way.
He rolled out
He was
the
the
way,
one
okay.
who won.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
yeah,
It was just a mess.
it was absolute batshit crazy, and we decided that this week we were going to talk a lot about hardcore wrestling. Because it's a big topic that always comes up. We covered it lightly in the promotions, I guess.
Yeah, we touched on ECW a little bit. Didn't we
We touched ECW a little bit. Not enough so that we got a disease though. But yeah, so we thought we'd come back and talk about hardcore extreme wrestling. And I get the feeling that you guys are going to be giggling like schoolgirls every time I say something like going hardcore or doing it hardcore.
I know, it wasn't that extreme.
No?
No.
That's not. It's going to be one of those.
It's going to be
episodes,
one of them,
folks.
I think. Yes.
Right. So the big question to kick things off, I guess, is hardcore wrestling good for the industry?
Well, growing up, I absolutely loved hardcore wrestling. Like you had the ECW, you had Cactus Jack, you had Terry Funk.
Yeah.
Knowing what to do. They know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were sat there watching this CZW, and I got to admit, all 3 of us, well, you 2, were on your phones halfway through.
Yeah, we got bored.
Yeah, I think it's something you kind of tend to grow out of, I guess. I think for me, well, I suppose for me especially, because like I said before, like when I was a kid, you had all the gimmicky stuff with like God knows whoever as wrestlers, and then as I became a teenager, it was the Attitude Era, and it was more hardcore, and that would kind of appeal to me. And now as I'm slightly older, it doesn't appeal to me so much. So I think maybe it's something that I've grown out of.
Maybe. I think we were sitting there. I think obviously we've grown older, so we kind of appreciate the finer points of it. It's more we prefer like the psychology and the real in-depth shit. And I think within the first 3 minutes of the match, someone had already got thrown through that massive sheet of glass.
Oh, the bell went, picked up through the glass.
For no reason whatsoever. No build-up, no big tease. Nobody got the crowd invested.
There was a blade job within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Your pardon?
There was a blade
Oh,
job.
blade, right.
Yeah.
Missed that bit.
Yeah.
And we're back there again. And it was no psychology. It was just spot after spot after spot.
Yeah.
And we didn't really appreciate that, I don't think.
There was no storyline. It was like you get like the WrestleMania. You had Triple H and Roman Reigns. This is WrestleMania 32, and that had a storyline, had a back storyline. But then I guess they might have had a bit of a back storyline, whereas we just come and watched that match, and it was just these 4 guys. One was a heavyweight champion. They were going at it, but there was no storyline in the actual match.
There was no telling of a story throughout it.
In fairness, you can go to a fresh match and just watch it, and if they're good enough in the ring, they can tell you a story. If you choose your moves correctly, if you time your moves correctly, if you do all the little bits in between, your facial expressions, the way you kind of walk around the place, your body language, that can also. These guys were just throwing each other through stuff.
Yeah, which it's fine. I guess it'll be better if you were actually sitting in the audience watching it, and then you might
Maybe.
be going, yeah.
I mean,
you get the crowd behind you as well. Whereas we're just sat in.
But then the crowd seemed fairly dead in that fight, I thought.
Well, they were saying this is shit halfway through.
Exactly.
This is absolutely
No, I think they were shitting over the fact that they struggled to set up the bit of glass on the table, and every time the glass fell off the table, they were like, "This is shit." Like you're shit, and it's like, well, like
you balance glass on a chair.
Yeah, go for it. But yeah, I think it's something we've touched on in the past, but especially me and Kai, when we've seen things like Mr. Monster over at EAW. Like, don't get me wrong, I have, and I think I'll probably say this for the rest of this podcast, I'm not putting a dampener or writing off any of these hardcore wrestlers. They do shit I would not, I know I don't have the balls to do. Let's put it that way. But like the time where we've seen, was it fans bring your own weapons?
Yeah,
matches.
Kind of thing, yeah.
In fact, actually, let's go to the first time we went to EAW. I'm not sure if you were with me on May the 4th.
No.
So the first time we went to EAW, our good friend of the show, Andy Rain, and Mr. Monster in a fans bring your own weapons match. And basically, the idea behind that is the fans bring shit from home, and the wrestlers use each other to hit each other over the head with. And the match, we've met Mr. Monster, we've obviously met Andy Rain, two top blokes.
Oh, yeah.
But as I
Win
say,
her fly. Most of the time.
Outside of the ring, yeah. Well, outside of the match. But yeah, the match really just was like, I'll hit you in the head and on the back 3 or 4 times with an object from the audience, and then we'll switch around and you hit me 3 or 4 times, and then we'll switch back and I'll hit you 3 or 4 times. I mean, I think the ending spot came where Andy Rain took a superplex off the top rope through an ironing board.
Yeah, you showed me the video.
Which was all right.
Who takes an ironing board with them?
I think that was just there in the ready, already provided stuff. Well, actually, then again, it might not have been. I mean, you know,
Andy Rain's wife.
The people
doesn't want to do the iron anymore.
Yeah,
you let do it.
Fuck this, Andy. Take this. Smash him with it. But yeah, and there wasn't a lot of psychology. It was just 2 guys hitting each other with stuff. Not a massive appreciation for that because it's just.
Again, it's a spot fest kind of match, isn't it, really?
Well, it's not even that, is it? It's just hitting each other with stuff.
I remember rightly, it's May the 4th, they had a lightsaber sort of gimmick.
Yeah, I think the only spots they did was the lightsabers. I think there was one bit where Mr. Monster pulled out a bag of plugs, like ordinary plugs that go into the wall.
Oh.
And he took a black hole slam onto the plugs.
Oh, now that's going to hurt.
Yeah. But then I'm pretty sure that was after a run-in and someone had kicked half of the plugs out the way anyway. So they were there, but they weren't really there. And
Still standing on a plug hurts.
That's it.
It's the most pain in the world. You can forget sitting on your balls or having pregnancy problems or whatever. Standing on a plug.
Sitting on
Get
your
a Lego
balls.
caught right in your heel.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been a few Lego death matches. I think there's a women's
death match.
There was a Lego death match.
Lego.
It was a women's match in progress, if I remember rightly, and they looked quite good. But I mean, this is the thing. Like with CZW, that match that we watched, the ending. That last spot, it's kind of those things where you only really want to see the 3 seconds of this crazy shit happening, and that's all you really care about. So that's all those matches are good for, if you ask me. Like there was when YouTube first came around and I first learned about ECW, I basically just YouTube searched most insane ECW moments, and I just watched people jumping off balconies through tables, power bombs through tables, barbed wire baseball bats through flaming tables, all this sort of stuff. But it was just like little snippets.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's kind of what those matches are good for, is the little snippets of...
Holy shit.
Yeah.
There's like a macabre interest in it.
Yeah,
isn't there?
yeah.
There's part of you that just thinks, this is wrong, but I quite enjoy it.
Kind of like, and then the amount of stuff in Japan, like I've seen a few clips of a piranha death match. Where the winner is the guy that throws their opponent into a fish tank in the middle of the ring that's full of piranhas.
Nice.
And put a board over the top of it. Of course, there's the infamous stuff in Japan between Cactus Jack and Terry Funk.
C4.
My
C4
DVD of
yeah.
that has gone missing somewhere. I'm sure I'll find it from someone, whoever's borrowed it. I don't think they'll be listening to this podcast, though. No.
I doubt it.
No,
not involved anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've got a hell of a lot of respect because I've never got. Well, Kai, you've had a go at wrestling. Like, you took fisherman suplexes and stuff like that, and that hurt.
Yes. I need myself in the eye and gave myself a black eye.
So I wouldn't put myself in the line for clotheslines and power slams. Let alone.
I gave myself a concussion by taking a clothesline off a former wrestler.
Who was that?
You don't want to say?
Who?
What?
Oh, okay.
Isn't she getting beaten up by a woman?
No.
Is that why you don't want to say it?
Nightshade, in my very first wrestling sort of training session, Nightshade beat the living shit out of me.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
good girl.
Me all over
Good
the
girl.
place and God knows what.
Fair days.
Was the guy who suplex that gave you concussion? part of some sort of club?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's say the better. Long story, Luke. Long
Yeah,
story.
Long story short, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm nonplussed on that one. Yeah.
But in terms of that, when you get hit by a steel chair, it actually hurts.
Yes.
So, but this is what I like about street fights and hardcore is it helps. I think it helps the older wrestlers who can't quite move anymore.
Hulk Hogan versus
Hulk
Sting
Hogan
in
versus
TNA.
Sting was my example. I was
If
gonna
they
use.
didn't blade and have a street fight, that match would have been shit.
Exactly. So
Absolute wank. It was passable as a hardcore match.
exactly, you can pass it. So if you get these two guys, obviously they can't go anymore. Hulk Hogan, let's face it, he's with a Zimmer.
He hasn't been able to wrestle since, what, 85?
Exactly. But he's still on the screens. People still want to see him. And him against another old guy who can't really go anymore. Give them two Zimmer frames going at it. All right, if we went down the street right now and you saw two old fellas like pushing each other with Zimmer frames, don't tell me you're not going to stop and watch.
Oh, yeah, of course I am.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If actually, we're talking about this just before we start recording. The last pay-per-view I watched was Armageddon 99. Vince McMahon versus Triple H in a street fight as the main event. And as I say, it was a perfectly passable match for Vince McMahon.
How old would he been then? Because
He was 53. They mentioned it every fucking second.
Did they?
Yeah, every possible.
he's doing this.
That's it. Yeah. And if that wasn't a hardcore match, it was just a one-on-one wrestling match. It would have been wank.
Exactly. This is
yeah.
So it makes wank wrestlers look better. Look at Mick Foley. He's not. He's
His
been
career
admits
would
himself.
never have been as good as it was if it
Look
wasn't
at half
for his
the
hardcore
ECW
side
roster.
of it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like there's a few people like Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten, like they would never
The Blue Meanie.
the Blue Meanie. Yeah.
I'm going to throw out the name Sabu. I don't think he was that great.
I
Not that
quite like.
great in-
I've got a soft spot for Sabu.
I just think he was that great in the ring, but if it wasn't for the
Didn't last
stupid
very
shit
long
he
in
did.
his- Yeah,
I think he was
definitely.
talented
No.
though, because you see some of his like when he used to springboard off a chair onto the top rope to the outside.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
do that
I'm
for a
not saying-
table, anyone could do that.
Really? So you reckon you could set up a steel chair in the middle of a wrestling ring, bounce off the rope, run the ropes, jump onto the chair, then jump with it setting a different step onto the top rope,
Yeah.
and then a somersault plancher through. Really?
Yeah.
I'm
Tell
not
you
saying
what.
he wasn't talented.
I don't
just
think it's
don't
that
think
hard.
I think he was on the better spectrum with Sabu. He was on a more talented spectrum of the roster. But then I guess this could also link back to the podcast that me and Kai did ages ago as what makes a good wrestler. You know,
True.
there's a lot of things there. But if your only ability as a wrestler is to be able to get hit in the forehead quite a lot and blade, I don't think that's it's not the best of skill sets to have.
No, it's not
No,
really.
but it will make people look. Like I say, look at Mick Foley. Can't. Okay, he can pass as a wrestler. Okay, he's done it, but he's not.
Psychology
he's not-
wise, though, he's got it in the bag.
Yeah, and that's what you need.
And psychology, for me at least, is a massive part of
Of
wrestling.
course it is.
Yeah, exactly. So Mick Foley had that, but technically he didn't have really the wrestling skills. So how could he get the psychology and entertain people? Is get hit around the head 15 times with a steel chair.
Define wrestling skills.
I mean technically.
But that's if you want to be a technical wrestler.
Yeah, like Steve
That's a very
Austin's-
good point.
There's,
I mean, he's a ringmaster.
Yeah, Stone Cold isn't a good technical wrestler.
He is.
No, he's not.
He is.
What?
Mechanically wise, he's a brilliant wrestler.
In what respect? Like technically wise, can he put you in 1,000 holes?
Probably.
Probably
Are there
not.
1,000 holds?
Well, yeah, there's armbar, Jericho's.
Stomping a mud hole is not a move.
No, mechanically.
Walking it dry is not the
mechanically,
second move.
Stone Cold is a really good wrestler.
But you're talking mechanically now, not technically. Like
Same thing, right?
Nah. I mean, like,
Technically, my car is brilliant.
mechanically is how you move, I guess. Whereas technicality, someone like Kurt Angle is very good technically because he will, wrestle on the mat. He's a mat technician.
Lance Storm was one of the best technicians.
There you go.
He was
But,
amazing.
I think we've drifted slightly off topic,
have.
I guess. But
Yeah.
But the point is, I think with his psychology and the way he moves
Foley,
around the ring
we're going back to
with,
Foley.
with hardcore, back to Mick Foley, back to hardcore wrestling, with his hardcore style, because he has to really do that with his psychology, is why he's one of the best wrestlers, if you like. I use the inverters.
well, if you
Can't see.
yeah, for those of you who can't see us, but you look at some of Foley's older matches when he was Mankind. I say he wasn't technically gifted, but his matches got over because of his psychology.
Yeah.
He's
But I
probably
just think
most-
it helps. The street fight and the hardcore just helps him. That's why he blew up so as much as he
True,
did
he probably
in
wouldn't have got over
AEW.
as if
I
he
think the
wasn't
thing
able
is,
to
like,
take the
obviously
crazy
his
stuff.
most famous match is at King of the Ring '98, But then
Yes.
also he had like Boiler Room Brawls with The Undertaker and stuff like that.
I absolutely. I mean, I think it's been slated because of how it was edited. But watching them for the first time the other week.
No, they were pretty
the other
good.
week, the other, like a couple of months ago. I love that Boiler Room Brawl match. It was
good.
amazing.
My only issue with that Boiler Room Brawl, whatever it is it might have went on for a bit too long.
Maybe.
I
The ending definitely dragged.
Yeah,
on.
the ending
The
did.
ending definitely
Yeah.
did.
But what I was getting to, sorry, was that if it wasn't for those spots, or those type of matches, would we be sat here talking about Mick Foley? Because, like you said, technically he's not a great wrestler. He hasn't got the wrestler build. He's not the type of person you're going to remember for his wrestling in-ring ability.
True.
Can you remember the time where Cactus Jack was unveiled to go out against Triple H, and just a trash can came out? How much of a pop the crowds there gave
I
him
think
there.
that's my next pay-per-view to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I cannot
So behind,
fucking
man.
wait.
So behind.
Well, no, technically,
16
actually,
years behind. Come on.
Was it on a pay-per-view? I thought it was on Raw.
I have no idea.
I
I
think
mean, I'm getting up to the part where Cactus Jack really makes a big
See,
big
and
impact.
I don't think without his previous hardcore statements, he would have that would
Oh, no,
have been
true.
so big.
But this is the thing. Like, I guess for me, there's two types of hardcore wrestling. There's a good hardcore wrestling match, and there's a trash match.
Yeah.
Trash matches I can't stand. Random pop quiz. Royal Rumble 2000. Guess how many pay-per-view, like what number pay-per-view that is in the chronology from WrestleMania 1 to
2000. Royal
so
Rumble 2000.
Royal Rumble 2000 is the blanks pay-per-view for WWE.
97.
Close.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very round number.
Is it 100?
It is the 100th pay-per-view,
it?
which is why I'm quite excited. So you say I'm behind. I've watched 100 pay-per-views, like,
More than
chronologically.
I've watched, to be honest.
There you go. And
And he's got a spreadsheet for every one.
I have. Well, no, they're not one for everyone. They're all on the same spreadsheet.
I do feel like I just got a kendo stick around the face.
There you go. But yeah, like let's think of some of the best hardcore matches we can.
Do you want to do the best? Can I just bring out one guy who I think is
Go for it.
that's similar, but then the total opposite to Mick Foley? Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
When he is so gifted in the ring.
I'm not
His
sure-
psychology is okay.
I don't really see him as a hardcore wrestler
But-
in a way though.
But
What he
did
can do
quite
in a
lot of
hardcore
spots.
match.
Yeah.
What he can do in a hardcore match is unreal.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Like the chair shots they used to do.
Van
Chuck-
Daminator
Yeah,
and
that's
the
it.
Van Terminator and the Van other things.
The white man.
The man in the van.
The Van Man, yeah. The
But then,
Yeah.
sorry, Kai, I was going to say, but then, like, there are people who, like, my namesake, Shane O'Mac. Like, he only really did hardcore matches or,
Because
street fights
Then
and
I
things
don't
like
think he's
because
that
he
gifted
wasn't.
as a wrestler.
No.
So that again, it helps him.
Yeah.
Remember him taking
But
that massive bump off the Hell in a Cell.
But
the
once
title
again,
from-
he's
Yeah.
not a gifted wrestler. But what makes a good wrestler? This is the question. Like,
Surely,
I mean, in Shane McMahon's case, I'd say he's a brilliant wrestler because he's got the balls to jump off something that's 20 foot high.
I'm scared of heights. I wouldn't go up
There
there.
you go. Well, you're terrible. You're a terrible wrestler, Kai. That's
Miracle jump. But then I could be better in the ring, psychology-wise, than Shane McMahon. I'm not saying I am.
It's all about entertainment at the end of the day. Bottom line, entertainment. That's the E
I can sell like a
in
bitch.
WWE. Wow.
So that
Is it selling if you're actually in pain and crying in the floor? Like, if you're curled up in the fetal position crying, that's not selling. That's genuine.
Fun fact:
Right.
in wrestling training, once I stopped the whole session because people thought I was genuinely hurt. I was just selling.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. They were just like beating the living.
You're like,
shit.
ah, you're right. Like, kip up. Pow. Yes, I'm fine.
I tried to kick out once, I couldn't do it. It was like a fat whale just going.
Did it just look like a salmon trying to jump up?
Yeah, pretty
the
much, yeah. I even had one guy trying to like lift me up. No one needed two. It just wasn't happening.
screen? Wow.
I'm not
You needed two guys to get you up.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Good wrestling matches.
do
Hardcore.
you want to
Yes.
name those two guys out of interest?
Fluffer 1 and Fluffer 2.
One was Dan Darkstar,
Interesting.
and the other one I don't really want to.
No, okay.
Yeah, good.
So next time I see Dan Darks, I'm going to say, so, remember that time you got Kai up?
I did knock one of his contact lenses out,
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
and then
about
he
Brutal.
and then he for some reson rolled over my head and said that was payback. Oh, what for?
that. Receipt. Yeah, so, I mean, I won't lie, I didn't do an awful lot of research for hardcore matches. I always thought we would just talk about the style generally, but what matches do we...
I have done some research.
Yeah, this
but
is
I've-
good, this is
I know,
good.
right?
I'm glad you two do the research because
Hit us
I've
with
done
it.
a little bit.
I mean,
it was-
obviously King of the Ring 98. It's
Yeah.
a big one.
I actually looked more into the crappy side of hardcore wrestling and
Yes.
some of the really horrible ones. And I did make a
okay.
list.
Okay.
I did make a list. I'm quite sad.
Let's hear your list of what you found.
When you talked about Japan earlier, there was one from Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling.
FMW. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Can I guess?
Go on.
Is it the one on the river?
Yes, it was the electric barbed wire
C4 explosive ring.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got like the longest title in the world.
Yes.
But for people who don't know what it is the wrestlers were taken to the ring in the middle of like a pond lake type thing.
Yep.
The water itself was laced with explosives. The ring had electrified barbed wire. And yeah, it was just a massive mess of a match. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. I love Japan. It's like
There was also another one which was I didn't write this one down, but I remember seeing it. It was something like just a normal standard death match, if you like.
No,
But-
just you don't know.
yeah, as you do in Japan. But then the loser had to fight an alligator. But it was.
no, was that, and the alligator just was.
It was
give two
scared.
shits.
It was scared. It
Yeah.
didn't know what to do, and this bloke literally just kind of poked it out the ring, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's what happens
Yeah.
when you put a cobra.
a cobra. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
That's got to happen somewhere.
Easy for you. How strong were these beers?
Not very.
Can I do the Santino Cobra thing?
Oh, please don't.
Cobra.
One of the
you can't see this.
yeah, one of the other ones that came up was the Punjabi prison match.
Oh, see, the thing I love about this is the fact that it was meant to be Kali's signature match,
thing.
and he couldn't take part in it for some reason. He was
So they
injured or
replaced him
something.
with the Big Show.
Yeah,
it was
standard.
just horrid.
That one was the rules were just crazy. Like every however many 2 minutes or 3 minutes, the door open, and
And
then
if you
after a
couldn't get
minute,
out of it, yeah, it
that
was-
door shut, and then
It was such a
I kind of liked it in a
convoluted
way.
match. It was odd.
I've not seen this.
I really
really
like. I
haven't
really
missed
like
out.
the crazy. I mean, I'm a TNA fan, so of course I really like the weird gimmick matches, and we should talk about gimmicks sometime soon. I feel maybe next week. Maybe next week. But I love the crazy gimmick matches like that. If I'm being honest, but then is that a hardcore match or was that just a gimmick match?
I think it's more of a gimmick match, isn't it? But that's
No,
the
I
difference.
dunno.
Gimmick matches tend to involve hardcore stuff, like the
True.
gimmick.
Like
the I Quit match, you tend to get smashed around the head with something.
But actually,
they're kind of like hand in hand, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
a TLC match is essentially a gimmick match, but it's also
Full Metal
considered
Mayhem if you're not WWE.
yeah. But it's also considered a hardcore match because you're going through tables, you're being
True.
hit with ladders and chairs.
You are very much so.
So they are one of the same, essentially.
Of course, a point of recording Extreme Rules is coming up very shortly.
No, Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
It's possibly the same thing as you, so carry on.
No, you go on. Mine's totally weird.
No, fuck it. I want to hear your weird shit. in
Right,
that
can you
case.
remember a while back? It's not weird, but it's a great idea that I would like to see come back. Is you remember ages ago, WWE had the hardcore title.
You're going to say
Yeah.
Finders Keepers match.
No. That's
Have
probably gonna,
you heard this Finders Keepers
Yeah,
match?
he has described it to me.
It
yeah,
keeps
it's
coming
going to
back.
come up next week on the Gimmick
keeps
Smash.
coming. He keeps managing. I mean, he's pushing this to the fucking moon, right?
I am.
Have you written a letter to someone? Are you
No,
trying to
but
get it?
who does Vince Russo work for now?
Dear Vincent Kennedy McMahon, I have an awesome
remember-
idea of a match for you.
I remember a while back, the Hardcore Championship was on the line.
It was.
For 24 hours a day, 7
Yep.
days a week.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that? Starting from sort of now. So Raw, they have.
Well, now it's up now.
Yeah.
Shit,
no,
I'm gonna go for. I want a championship match. I'm going. I'm off. You say
let's go,
now,
bitch. Let's go,
right
bitch.
now.
Right, on Raw, they have a ladder match to get the Hardcore title.
Yep.
Yeah, fine. And whoever gets it then has to defend it for 24 hours a day up until an Extreme Rules match where you have to put it somewhere. I haven't figured that bit out. But it would be great for the network, be great for social media, and be great for the wrestlers to get involved and actually do something at Extreme Rules, the one night of the year which is meant to be absolutely hardcore.
So what happens at Extreme Rules?
Okay, if you have the Hardcore title at Extreme Rules and it all ends, you get an Intercontinental shot or something stupid like that.
Okay, so basically it's like Battle Royale. If you survive, then you get a prize.
Yeah, but it's a hardcore
But
thing.
you probably
lasting-
won't after 30 days.
Okay.
I can imagine that. Imagine that. Like if you had to
The thing is,
literally
they'd give it straight away to Dean Ambrose. That's it.
That's
He's,
true. But like, could you imagine like going live on Facebook for like
Exactly.
Yeah,
I remember
it's
they
like
doing that
Big Brother,
years
but
ago.
for wrestling.
They
I
did
think
that
we
years
mentioned
ago,
that before, though, in the promotions podcast, didn't we?
What's that?
That they should do a Facebook wrestling.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
It was
But that's a
the
perfect-
most
that's-
likes gets a
for-
title
yeah.
shot.
Likes
That's the
for title
development, though, of it's you're live on Facebook, on Twitter, on everything. Like Kevin Owens just
Defend
coming
your
in to
title. Go.
Get the, well, yeah, exactly.
You have to. It must be quite hard to fight someone whilst holding your phone, taking selfies and stuff.
Couldn't they?
Ask Tyler Breeze.
Yeah.
Couldn't they have it like on the rafters? You had to put like the hardcore belt up there. If you get it up there, you would get a title shot, and then all shit would break loose. Although you could get a tragedy happening.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah. So what have you got any good hardcore spots in your research?
Fuck you then.
What?
Completely ignore.
Oh, actually, no, I remember where I was going with that.
all right,
Do I? Yeah. Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Hardcore wrestling stars. WWE at the moment. PG-13. Can WWE seriously put on a show called Extreme Rules when no one's allowed to bleed or swear, or it's a family-friendly product? Does Extreme Rules still have a place in the WWE pay-per-view calendar?
Not right now.
There's a question and a half for you.
And I just answered it.
No. The product, like you said, is still it's still aimed too much at families and things like that for it to actually be there.
I think I read that Jim Ross was said that bleeding in whatever form should come back, but in a very sporadic way.
Well, it's not that they haven't done it. I mean, they gave a blood capsule to Roman Reigns.
And I think that was probably the first time that someone's bled without being literally bust open for a very, very long time.
I think Lesnar must have bled recently.
That was all hardware, I think, if I remember rightly.
Was it?
There's maybe.
He always used to be cut on the same.
Oh no, there was one match
on his forehead. Like he runs himself into the post.
Yeah,
and it always looks like he's blading when he does it.
There was one match where they both, I think him and Triple H, they bladed and they got.
Yeah, Vince went a bit mental over that.
Tore them a new one backstage.
Yeah. I thought that was Batista and Jericho.
No, I'm talking recently.
Oh, okay.
I think it was. Oh, was it Triple? No, Triple H and Triple H and Undertaker Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Did one of them bleed there? I can't remember. But yeah, but see, the point is now
Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Battleground.
That could be actually, yeah. There you go. So yeah, it was Lesnar, maybe it was. But I think some of his matches with Cena, he literally just punched him in the face and broke it. And who was it that literally run? It was Sheamus that got run into the ring post and literally bust his own face open.
Why not?
That looked really bad because you could hear his skull bounce off of the metal. I think that if they broke it out like every 6 more, like left it a while, and then had one match where some guy just gets absolutely just smashed open.
But isn't that what the two pay-per-views are for? So you've got Extreme Rules, and then you've got TLC, and surely they're meant to be the two
extreme.
The two kind of hardcore ones that.
Off you go, kids. Off to bed. You're not watching this.
Yeah, exactly.
Does TLC still exist?
Yeah,
December. It's December.
Oh, because it used to be Extreme Rules in December, but now it's kind of the Extreme Rules now.
Well, yeah, because they got rid of the Elimination Chamber and replaced it with Fastlane, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which is pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
But then I think things like Elimination Chambers and not King of the Rings, Hell in a Cell, don't deserve their own pay-per-views.
No.
They should just be matches at pay-per-views.
They make them more special when that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But then saying that TNA's Lockdown theme pay-per-view, I absolutely love, where every single match is inside
but that's
the cage.
every single match, whereas Hell in a Cell tends to be like one.
That's true, yeah. You're just highlighting it's a pay-per-view designed for the gimmick rather than the storyline.
Lethal Lockdown seems to be just the end match when the roof comes down as well.
Yeah,
so that gives it a bit more.
It does.
Special element.
You're going back to your list of your notes.
Right,
I'm impressed, though. I'm impressed.
I made a couple. It was just more about like random matches, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear some
so
more.
we've mentioned most of them. So like the Boiler Room brawls, the ones from Japan, the Punjabi match. There was one which was more on the stupid side of hardcore wrestling, which was the Gulf of Mexico match.
Oh,
2008, Chavo Guerrero and CM Punk.
Yep.
And the winner was the one that could throw the opponent into the Gulf of Mexico.
You've basically just watched the What Culture video, haven't you?
No, I haven't actually.
You really?
No, I googled stuff.
Oh, okay. I think it's the same stuff I googled because I know all of these.
Oh, okay. No, I just searched for stuff.
That's cool.
That's all I've got on the hardcore one, to be fair.
I'm trying to think of some other weird... I
was also looking for like promotions as well for hardcore ones. The one I came across was XPW, which was owned.
Can't say I've heard of them.
No, it was owned by.
Were they the ones that had a big run-in with ECW?
Yeah,
they were running
essentially
LA.
When ECW
went to the West Coast.
When basically ECW ended. A lot of the ECWs went to XPW.
Okay.
Is
that the same? Because I know there was a time where ECW started going global and they moved to the West Coast. Well, they did a show they did an LA show, and a bunch of XPW wrestlers kind of managed to get scalp tickets for the front row, and then basically caused a massive
Yeah, that'd
legit
be the
fight.
ones.
Yeah.
That would be the ones.
No, that's
I'd-
hardcore wrestling.
Yeah, but other than the ones you already mentioned, like ECW, CZW, and things like that, there's not really many out there now. I think a lot of it is more
based on
your
what we saw, I
local
think
backyard
CZW,
kind of
yeah.
stuff, and
Oh, backyard wrestling. Do we want to touch on that?
it's
Why not?
How bad that is and
Well,
how
it's essentially,
dangerous.
if you think about it, we've mentioned him already in the podcast. Mick Foley started as a backyard wrestler. He'd throw himself off his house onto a mattress and stuff like that.
True. Onto a mattress. Some of the backyard stuff I've seen is
Oh,
just
yeah, I
someone
know.
jumping out of a second story window through a table, missing the table, landing on the grass outside,
Ending
and
up in hospital.
breaking their coccyx. Yeah, like a douchebag.
I think
Yeah.
backyard wrestling, when you want to have a go, you don't know where to start, and you just get your mates around in your backyard trying to smash a window. Brilliant. That's what me and my mates used to do.
Yeah.
I put a mate through a garden table, not to the much pleasure of my mother.
Wow.
Still hasn't forgiven me.
Jesus.
Legitimately went through the table.
Wow.
Done.
Wow.
I
Still
can't say.
chair as well.
I mean, I always thought about it. I thought, yeah, I'd
Let's
love
do
to
it.
get some friends. Yeah, okay.
Let's go now.
I've got a barbecue in the corner.
That's
and
fine.
Some
We'll
tables
use that.
and
We'll line
chairs.
that up.
We'll use
Jump
that.
off the top of the shed,
Yeah, why not?
hang a hurricane rider off the top of the
Beat you
tree.
with a bird feeder.
Yeah.
No, I've always thought about doing something like that, but then I don't think I've got the balls enough to actually go, this is really going to hurt.
Yeah, I know I don't.
I don't want to do it.
I know I don't.
Is it more of a case of you hit me with that, I am going to hit you with this, and it just goes up, fuck you, because you did that,
Yeah,
I'm
you
going to
just-
smash you one.
Yeah, I'd lose my temper really quickly and just end up wailing on you.
Just go full
Legitimately knocking me out.
Just getting the spade out of the shed.
Any favourite hardcore spots from anyone? Because I think without wanting to go to the obvious Mick Foley off the top. Well, actually, because obviously Mick Foley getting thrown off the top of the cage was one thing.
That's not a hardcore match, though, is it?
My favourite spot in that match was actually when he went up and got chokeslammed through the
Through it.
cage the second time, because that was the
Yeah.
one that looked like, oh shit. Like,
I think mine is another Mick Foley one.
Yeah.
But it's the Royal Rumble 2000, and it's the pedigree on the thumbtacks.
yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was really good.
I think was that featured on Beyond the Mat, and you see him actually with the tweezers
taking it out his
taking
skull.
the thumbs.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
gnarly as fuck.
Yeah.
One of my favourites is Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon at King of the Ring 2001.
Where he doesn't put him through the glass.
Yeah.
First time.
And that happens twice. They go
Yeah.
through one and then they come back the other way. And
But it
yeah.
was. I remember Shane McMahon talking about that, and he said that it was meant to be shattered, like glass that shatters, and they didn't replace it. So he legitimately just put him through glass,
Wow.
and then back through the other way.
Jesus.
Like he completely knocked him out.
That's
ridiculous.
That's up there with some of my favourites, I think. WCW, did they go hardcore at any point?
They did. They went hardcore before hardcore exists. No, that's a lie.
Who were their hardcore wrestlers?
No, the one I was going to talk about, it wasn't. It was meant to be a legitimate match, but it turned out it didn't actually happen like that. So
Okay.
the main event was meant to be Sting versus Bret Hart, two very similar guys in
Yeah, yeah.
their attire and everything. They were meant to go at it, but it just turned out to be Bret Hart and Sting just having a massive fight backstage, and that was all what the
Wow.
match was.
Okay.
And there was people like screaming and everything, and they were just chucking. So I think I prefer hardcore matches when it is backstage, when they've got a lot more items and a lot more of a fun.
I've seen a lot of those backstage hardcore matches, and a lot of them involving Al.
Some of the
Snow at
bumps there
moment.
that they can do, like a suplex on the concrete ground, just
Yeah.
look so much harder.
But
Was it
did,
was it
yeah.
Al Snow and Hardcore Holly?
Possibly,
Where they ended
yeah,
up in
yeah,
the
in the
Mississippi
river.
River.
Yeah, there was that one.
was
Yeah.
like from start to finish. That's a
Hardcore
pretty
Holly,
good hardcore
no.
match. I think it's all right.
It was alright.
Al Snow,
passable.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is there any kind of notable trash wrestlers in ECW history that they had? Like, 'cause obviously you look at like ECW, you got your obvious ones. So even WWE had their
Trash
obvious
wrestlers.
ones. Yeah, the ones that were like well, I don't want to say Mankind, but you know the ones that just did
Mankind,
the
those
hardcore.
matches,
Did the hardcore. Who did WCW have? Just out
But
of
Raven
curiosity.
came in sort of halfway through me. They took a
Yeah.
lot of ECW
See,
guys.
Raven I like
Raven's
though.
flop.
Raven I like
Raven had
as a
that,
hardcore wrestler.
but he had that kind of emo brooding.
Yeah. He
thing,
actually
and
had
he
a
played
character.
Up, yeah, he played up to it quite
that
well
was
with
psychology.
the hardcore match.
The one I
yeah.
really liked in WCW was Vampiro.
Was he a hardcore wrestler?
Hero. Oh, okay.
He went pretty hardcore.
Okay.
I think he went hardcore wherever he went.
Yeah.
But he had a massive feud again with Sting, and it was absolutely brilliant. They had like first blood matches, first man torch alive matches, and
Okay, yeah. That's
They
cool.
just went at
That's
it.
cool. I do quite like there was the Inferno match between Undertaker and Kane is one of my favourites.
That's more of a gimmick, though, isn't it? So we can talk about that next week.
I think there was I think it's No Mercy. I want to say it's either 2000. It might be 2002, maybe. Shane McMahon versus Kane in an ambulance match.
Okay.
And that was obviously the whole idea was to get the person in the back of the ambulance and shut the door.
Yeah.
But there is a spot in that where Kane is on his knees and he doesn't put his hands up, and Shane swings the ambulance door straight into his face, and it's just like, ouch.
In fact, there was an old school cage match. I think it was Triple H and Mankind. And it's one where China swings the door into his head.
Yeah.
And it's the old metal, like, solid metal door. That looked painful as fuck.
So, it's hardcore wrestling then, as how hard you can get hit and basically get away with it.
Maybe, but
I think it's like that must legitimately hurt. I think that's more of what
I don't think
hardcore
wrestling doesn't come down to selling, does it?
No.
Because it's, like you said, it's legitimately being smacked in the back with a steel chair being thrown into something.
If you think of a regular wrestling match and you take some suplexes and stuff, and then you have to get up and sell the suplex, in theory, if you get hit around the head with a chair, you should be out cold for half an hour.
I think this is the thing that annoys me with Triple H having that sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Is if you legitimately got smacked in the face with a sledgehammer, your face would swell like you've been stung by a bee.
It's a good look. It's a good look, but I think that's kind of almost crossing the line where you suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, and I think if you watch a match where say let's have Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, 20-minute Matt Classic, and they look genuinely knackered after the match, and then if the next match you have on is a trash match and you get hit around the head with this, you get hit around the head with that, and they look maybe less knackered afterwards, it just doesn't make it believable, I don't think, because in my head, like remember when you're playing your PlayStation 1, you're playing Raw and SmackDown and War is Raw. As soon as you hit anyone with a weapon in that, you had the win, basically.
Yeah, of course you did.
And I think you've got to be very careful how you do it in the actual matches, because it takes the believability out of it, I think.
I got a feeling you're not a fan of hardcore wrestling.
I love it for the spots.
I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's more of a spot match.
If it's just a shit match with two good spots, I'd much rather watch the YouTube clip of the 5 seconds where he jumps off the top of a cage through a glass door.
Like rounding it all back up, it's the CZW. Just that
that's
ending would
and that's it. So the ending spot was really cool, but the filler in that match was just boring as fuck.
It was about an hour's worth of just.
It felt like it.
Flying.
It felt like it.
Really wasn't a good match.
So I'd much rather have some psychology.
Like, just going back to hardcore wrestling really quickly, I don't think it would have we wouldn't have had the birth of the Attitude Era without
Very
it.
True. But I think ECW kind of ticked that off, because Vince saw how popular ECW was getting and was like, shit, we need to cash in on this.
So then is hardcore wrestling also about the attitude of the wrestler? Like, I can't imagine if you put Tyler Breeze in there with, like,
the selfie stick.
Yeah, but if you put Tyler Breeze in there with someone, I don't know, say like Cactus Jack back in the day, like the two different psychologies like you've mentioned before, I can't imagine it would work.
Well, look at Triple H and Cactus Jack at Royal Rumble. I haven't got to it yet, but I know exactly what happens in it. Triple H wasn't really a hardcore guy. He was just a standard heel. And I think I actually remember watching that match, because I remember going in how scared Stephanie looked for him, and how scared she was afterwards, and how it was like he won, but he
stretched out.
Yeah, that's it.
Shard of wood stuck in his thigh.
He won the match, but he wasn't a winner in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
So I think it's less about the psychology of the wrestler, more about the psychology of the match.
Okay, fair enough.
Because as I say, I'm sure, I can't remember what it was like, but I'm sure going in, knowing he was facing Cactus Jack, Triple H probably looked scared walking down the aisle. Yeah. That's the shit that gets you over in the matches, is selling your emotions. So it doesn't matter if you're a guy, you've got scars all over your forehead and your knuckles taped up, you just walk down to the ring like it's another day in the office. That's one thing. But as I say, you can still be a non-hardcore wrestler in a hardcore match and still get it over. Just like Triple H did, I think. And I'm sure looking back through history, there's probably loads where the crazy hardcore, I'll do the inverted commas again, crazy hardcore wrestler's been up against someone that isn't a hardcore wrestler. There must be, like Shane McMahon in a way.
Yeah,
when he was forced to go
I know we've been talking about hardcore for a while, but the one person we seemed to miss off was Steve Blackman.
Steve Blackman,
really?
The lethal weapon. He called himself a lethal weapon. He used the kendo sticks and stuff like that.
He did the nunchucks and stuff like that.
But then,
multiple
Yeah.
hardcore
I'm trying to think
champions.
that there is.
Yeah.
I know there's other people. I can almost picture it. Maybe like Eric Young before he was still the scaredy cat, as it were. Him in matches. I know there's going to be others in WWE as we move forward, but the ones that don't want to be in hardcore matches but keep getting put in them and
Yeah.
they just get beaten, like just the shit kicked out of them every week. But
Surely that would be a Spike Dudley type character.
there you go. Yeah, I'm sure. But then I think he he never looked scared in matches.
He was a Dudley. He was
Yeah,
scared.
but I'm sure there's people somewhere that don't want to be in these matches and they keep getting put in them, in character at least, and that it puts it over. It gets the match over.
I guess so.
It's all about being entertaining and psychological.
Which I think we just talked about. The CZW guys just couldn't do it. They just wanted to go in there for the spots.
I mean, that guy AR Fox looked genuinely scared in some parts, which was all right. He kind of was the only one that made it look believable. But then again, as we said, he was the only proper wrestler, really.
he looked, the drop kicks looked legitimate.
Yeah, he looked
Like in the stuff, the way he did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what should I say? That's hardcore.
That is
Yeah.
hardcore.
Should we talk more about gimmicks next week?
I think so. I think that's a topic we can really get
Open up
running
a can
with.
of worms.
Well, so
Yeah.
the thing is, like I said, it's hand in hand, isn't it? So it's
It is.
essentially going to be an extension, but it'll be good.
But ultimately, I like the thought of blood in wrestling as long as it's not used in every match every week.
Yeah, you've got to make it special.
Yeah, I think WWE could legitimately do an Extreme show if they plan the spots right, as well.
If they hit each other around with My Little Ponies.
Well,
Or Action Man.
I don't know.
Action Man doesn't exist anymore.
What?
Yeah, no.
Motherfucker.
I was looking around the shop for it the other day because I wanted to get my son one and they don't have any.
Wow.
It's like army.
That's
toys
horrible.
now. It's ridiculous.
Getting somebody else on, yeah, all right.
I think one example. I think the only thing that makes me think that WWE can't do extreme matches anymore is Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania.
No, fuck that. Fuck that shit.
was just boring. They didn't really use it.
Well,
they could have done a lot
on the way
more.
out, he can be asked, and
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose I could tell Dean Ambrose looked like he wanted to do something there.
And Brock just is like CBA, LOL, TTFN, BRB.
And other acronyms
Yes.
as well.
But no, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Extreme Rules. Yeah, I just hope that they unleash it a little bit.
Speaking of Extreme Rules, we didn't touch on the Ambrose Asylum match.
That's true.
Which is
it
the
just
steel
like-
cage surrounded in weapons,
Yeah.
essentially.
Isn't that...
But it's taken from, I want to say TNA, I think it
Lethal
was.
lockdown.
Was it
just
Lethal
without
Lockdown?
the lockdown? It's just
Yeah.
just shit on the side of a cage. Yeah,
Stole that.
Yeah.
yeah,
fair
pretty
enough.
much.
But
And ironically, actually, the old before TNA were at Universal Studios, their home in Nashville was called the Asylum, which makes me laugh.
didn't he start in somewhere like CZW?
He did. He did.
So
In
he's
fact-
used to that hardcore background.
If you've ever seen the photo of a wrestler being held down and having there's like an electronic meat cutter, like the little knife that's on it's like on a hedge trimmer almost,
Yeah.
with that to his forehead. The guy that's getting cut with the thing is Dean Ambrose. You can't tell because his face is just red with blood. And he in fact, Google John Moxley CZW. Find some of the highlight videos of that. It's fucking crazy what he's done.
Yeah.
Nuts.
He's used to it.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
Going to go, well, this is a walk in the park compared to what I used to do. Back in the road.
Yeah.
Funny thing actually mentioning the TNA thing. It used to be a case I'd watch TNA and be like, count how many people involved in the match. Used to be in WWE. Now it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Watch the NXT and be like, right, that's a TNA
like
person,
Eric
and so on.
Young's popped up and there's Samoa Joe, there's Austin Aries. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, TNA is slowly taking over.
Well, but Sky looked like she's going to go.
Is she, really?
Yeah.
Do we think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think there's many other places she can go.
Bubba and Buddy's over there.
Yeah,
might as well.
exactly.
She's got the look for it, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let them pigeons loose.
One in the garden.
Anyway, on that note, we had a little bit of chat about hardcore wrestling tonight. Let us know your thoughts. Comment on Facebook. Send us a message. Especially if your surname's Oxterby and you live in Cyprus, feel free to let us know everything you think
Or
about this
don't.
podcast. Let us know. Do you like hardcore wrestling? Do you think it's a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's one of those discussions that can go on for a
Is it
very,
a thing
very
you would
long
watch
time.
for your mother?
No.
Fair enough. There you go. Answered that one.
Next week we're going to be talking about
Gimmicks.
some gimmicks. So gimmick matches or gimmick,
Gimmick
wrestlers
matches,
or
gimmick people. We'll see how it goes.
bit of gimmick people. It's just like you're the whole thing, the whole person. Fuck the wrestling in-ring character. You are a fucking gimmick.
My wife's actually not a doctor in anything. She's just
It's just a gimmick.
Just a
Yeah.
gimmick.
Kai, the social media guy.
Yes.
Where are we at? I know I could probably know off by heart by
We
now. I don't know how
are
many times I've heard
at
it.
Figure 4 Radio on Twitter and Instagram, I do understand.
Indeed.
We also have a website, it's figure4radio.weebly.com. Also have Facebook, facebook.com/figure4radio. And
Yep.
YouTube is...
F4TV.
There you go, YouTube.
Kapow.
youtube.com/F4TV.
In fact, randomly, one idea I threw out the other day was, should we do should we watch all the ECW pay-per-view shows and put them up on YouTube?
We said yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that in the next month or 3 or 4
Months. Yeah, it's going to pop up during the
coming
Sometime
months.
soon.
Yeah, we'll give that a go because I want to see them all. But anyway, I've been the Mastermind Ollie Spring.
I being the Killer Kyle Brand.
I've been Luke O Mac.
Join us next week where we will be talking about gimmick matches, gimmick wrestlers, gimmick people.
Gimmicks.
Gimmicks. See you later.
Lock it in.
This has been a Figure 4 Radio production. For more podcasts, go to our website www.figure4radio.weebly.com.